Hey everybody, I'm ST and today I'm going to show you my best settings, the most awesome settings for video for this little guy, Nikon Z30. First thing that I need to mention is that I'm almost always shooting in 4K at 24 frames per second. This is where I am most of the time, unless I need slow motion, in which case I would shoot in 1080p at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, depending on how slow I need my video to be. The reason why I shoot in 4K is the obvious one. I want the highest quality possible. There's no reason for me to shoot in any lower resolution. For example, if I'm shooting a YouTube video like this, I want you guys to be able to count my eyelashes. It'll help you sleep if this video doesn't. Now, another thing to point out is that I'm almost always in the flat profile. You can use either Nikon's flat profile or you can use my custom profile, custom flat profile, and that is downloadable for free. The link is in the description. I also have LUTs there that work amazing with the flat profile that I created and with Nikon's flat profile as well. And now hit that like button and subscribe if you already haven't. You can also find me on Instagram, and that will be right here. Okay, now let me show you the most important settings for the video and how to set it up. Extremely important is this ISO button right here, and that is set up for you by default. I always, and I mean always, shoot video in full manual. Why? Well, because I don't want exposure changing from frame to frame. Exposure is easy to fix when you're shooting pictures because you only have one frame and you can just change that exposure in that one frame. But when you're shooting video, you have a lot of frames and the exposure is changing throughout the video, and then it's very, very difficult to change, to fix that exposure in post. Okay, so you have that ISO button here and you can change your ISO whenever you need to. That's very important. Next thing to do is I set my rear dial here to shutter speed so that I can change my shutter speed if I need to. If I'm shooting in 24 frames per second, my shutter speed is 1/50. But if I'm shooting in other frame rates, then I need to change my shutter speed. And this is important for me because in stills mode, I also have this dial set to shutter speed. So it's muscle memory, and I can change the shutter speed in video mode and in stills mode the same way. My front dial is set to aperture. The next thing I do is I set this shutter button to record video. Now, by default, this is set to take pictures if you want to take pictures during recording of the video. So you take little stills like frame grabs during recording of the video, but I don't need that because I can, if I need to grab a still, I can do that in post in the software. So I don't want this to take pictures. I want this to start recording video. And this is very important to me because of muscle memory again, because this is the shutter. Obviously you take a picture in picture mode. So a lot of times when I'm in video mode, I press this automatically, muscle memory, to start recording. And in the past, when I didn't have this set to record video, I would press it thinking I'm recording video. And then later I will be like, oh, where's my video? Oh yeah, I wasn't recording because I didn't press this button. Press this button. After these, the most important settings or buttons to me are these two function buttons. And the function 1 button, the top one, is set to change between focus modes quickly. So if I want to go from manual focus to autofocus, I can change that quickly. Or if I need to go from single point to wide tracking, for example, I can change that quickly as well. The function 2 button, the bottom one, is set to quickly change the white balance. So this is another one that I'm always in manual, and the reason is again because the white balance can change from frame to frame if it's in auto, and because video has a lot of frames, it's very hard to change this in post. So I'm always in manual white balance, and you don't have to be in custom white balance necessarily. You can use the shade or the sunlight white balance or whatever. As long as it's locked, then you can change it or fix it a little bit in post if you need to, but lock your white balance. don't have it in auto because it'll be a nightmare for you to fix it in post. And next I want to show you is this quick menu here. It's the I button here. It's pretty important to put items that you use the most here so you can change them fairly quickly if you need to. And I only focus on these 4 items here. Those are the ones I sometimes change. The first item is the image quality and frame rate. The second item here is vibration reduction, so I can turn that off or on when I need to. But keep in mind, vibration reduction only works if you have a stabilized lens. Nikon Z30 doesn't have IBIS. And then this next item on the list is the picture profile. Like I said, I'm usually in flat, but I have it here if I need to change it. And then we have highlight display item here to turn zebras off or on. Even though zebras are very helpful and useful, I don't always have them on because they throw me off while I'm recording, but sometimes I have to have them on. These help you see where you're blowing out your highlights, so it's important. Now here's the thing, I don't use these items for audio here because my audio doesn't go through the camera. I use an off-camera mic and recorder, and then I just sync the audio to the video in post. But if you plug your mic into the camera, you might need some of these settings here. So have these items here in case you need to change these settings quickly. And last thing that I use is this display button to switch between different displays. Well, I need these settings to show most of the time, and I want these settings on the screen. Sometimes I want a cleaner screen, so I switch to this display, for example, so I can see what I'm shooting without distraction. And that's pretty much it. Now take your camera and go out and shoot, and remember that good lighting and only good lighting will make your video look great. I hope this was helpful. Please hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.